Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Haley Amon, Chief Financial Officer of Pixelworks. On behalf of the Board of Directors and officers of the company, I want to welcome you to this annual meeting of shareholders and thank you for your attendance. Our annual meeting is being held today for the purpose of electing 5 directors, approving an amendment to the 2006 Stock Incentive Plan, to hold an advisory vote on executive compensation, ratifying the appointment of Grant Thornton LLP as Pixelworks' independent registered public accounting firm for the current fiscal year, and transacting such other business as may properly come before the annual meeting. Before we cover the business matters of today's meeting, I'd like to introduce the members of the board, senior management, and special guests in attendance today. I am pleased to introduce the current members and nominees for our board of directors: Todd DeBonis, chairman of the board, who is also our CEO; Dean Butler, lead independent director; Douglas Darrow, Scott Gibson, and Daniel Hennigan. I would also like to introduce Greg Zafiris, Pixelworks' chief legal officer; Leah Grant, who will be serving as inspector of elections; and Rima Tabak from Grant Thornton LLP. The agenda for this meeting will be as follows: 1. Election of directors. 2. Approval of amendment to the 2006 Stock Incentive Plan. 3. Advisory vote on executive compensation. 4. Ratification of the appointment of Grant Thornton LLP as Pixelworks' independent registered public accounting firm for the current fiscal year. 5. Vote count. 6. Formal meeting adjournment. And 7. Question and answer period. Notice of this meeting was properly mailed on April 17, 2026 to the shareholders of record at March 16, 2026. Broadridge has been appointed by the board of directors as inspector of elections. They will determine the number of votes represented here in person or by proxy, the validity of proxies, the existence of a quorum, and the number of votes cast on all matters. The inspector of elections has advised me that we have a quorum. I therefore declare this annual meeting lawfully convened, and we will proceed to the first proposal. The first proposal is the election of 5 directors. The nominees for election to the board of directors are as follows: Todd DeBonis, Dean Butler, Douglas Darrow, Scott Gibson, and Dan Hennigan. Our bylaws require nominations by shareholders to have been received prior to the date of this meeting, and no such nominations were received. Proposal number 2 is to approve an amendment to the 2006 Stock Incentive Plan. The proxy statement for the annual meeting, which was mailed to shareholders on April 17, 2026, contains detailed information on this proposal. Proposal 3 is an advisory vote on executive compensation. The proxy statement contains detailed information on the proposal. And finally, Proposal 4 is to ratify the appointment of Grant Thornton LLP as Pixelworks' independent registered public accounting firm for the current fiscal year. We did not receive notice from any shareholders of their intent to attend the meeting and vote telephonically during the meeting, so the polls are now closed. I now recognize Leah Grant, our inspector of elections, who will present the preliminary voting results.
Thank you, Haley. The preliminary results of voting are as follows. For Proposal 1, the election of 5 directors, each nominee received more than 87% of the votes cast. For Proposal 2, more than 90% of votes were cast in favor of the approval of the amended and restated 2006 Stock Incentive Plan. For Proposal 3, more than 89% of votes were cast in favor of the advisory vote to approve the company's executive compensation. And finally, for Proposal 4, more than 98% of votes were cast in favor of the ratification of the company's independent registered public accounting firm.
I therefore declare that the board of directors, 5 nominees for election as directors, Todd DeBonis, Dean Butler, Douglas Darrow, Scott Gibson, and Daniel Hennigan, have been duly elected, and proposal numbers 2, 3, and 4 have been duly approved. This completes the formal business to come before this annual meeting. There being no formal business, this annual meeting stands adjourned.